Hey y'all, it's Riot. Welcome back to Weekly Hyperfixations. A little bit of a jump scare right off the bat. This is what happens when I am alone with a hair straightener. Haven't done this in, I want to say, like 6 years. Almost? Yeah, I think 6 years. I think the last time I did this was freshman year of college. Um, all right. Welcome to week 10. Can't believe there's already 10 of these. It's a little crazy. Okay, so what we got on the docket this week is a little bit all over the place. So bear with on that. Okay. So first and foremost, there is a rumor that, and I'm saying rumor because there's no way this has been confirmed. Because I feel like it would be much bigger news if it was. There's a chance that Disney is going to go back to hand-drawn animation like they used to with, like, you know, classic Disney movies, which is huge because you can't that would functionally guarantee that they're not using AI, which is nice. And then sort of related, apparently I don't even want to have to talk about him. Apparently Shane Dawson, right? Apparently Shane Dawson made a quote unquote conspiracy video about a loose brick on Main Street in Disneyland. And there was a girl who was just doing her job at Disney, and he left her full face and name tag visible in the video, which means she's probably going to get fired because he made a conspiracy video about Disney that he put her in without her consent. And he labeled it as like some conspiracy theory. So he's just grasping at the straws to try and become relevant by throwing a random employee of Disney under the bus. So, yeah. And I did see this via Jenny Nicholson. She's the girl who did that really long video essay about Vampire Diaries. It's quite a famous video essay. And then on the note of something I've talked about in past weeks, I still completely stand by the statement that in America, the political situation is bleak enough that this year is becoming the year of nostalgia and like hunting for nostalgia, wanting to garner nostalgia to distract from everything that's going on. And we've gotten further proof that that's a big theme of 2025 and I've only seen a clip of it. I haven't watched it. I told myself I wasn't going to yet. But there's further proof of that in the new show on Hulu called Paradise. It is about, the show in general is about a president of the US. Completely fictional. It's not like they named him after a former president or anything. But a president and his bodyguard, basically, as I understand it. And the president dies, and it kind of rewinds on all of the events leading up to that. And for some reason, a recurring thing that happens is this one girl is just playing a game on the Wii, the Nintendo Wii, which very much further proves that we're aiming for nostalgia this year, because that is a Nintendo Wii. They literally got her swinging the Wiimote. Like, what? And I am in fact this close to watching Paradise, so I was gonna say pray for me. That's kind of the vibe there. Okay. On the note of Nintendo, bear with me. Apparently a new patent has been filed in Japan, that makes it look like the Nintendo Switch 2 might have integrated voice chat capability. For perspective, in some cases, this will go terribly, e.g. Fortnite and games like Fortnite, multiplayer games, Overwatch 2, stuff like that. However, consider the possibility of voice chat in Mario Kart. Consider that. It's a little silly goofy. Let's see what else we got. Oh, Monster Hunter Wilds came out, which I've only played one Monster Hunter game, and it's not at all a popular one, and I can't even remember which one it is. But I'm not a huge Monster Hunter fan. I have a best friend who is a huge Monster Hunter fan. But I've been seeing some really funny outfits, and I saw one that I'll put up right now that looks like Patrick Star from SpongeBob. So we really hit the mark with that one. Okay. And then in terms of media, there is a Kickstarter right now. And I can't remember the guy's name, but he recently released a trailer for this movie that he is trying to fund on Kickstarter. He traveled constantly with Stan Lee, Marvel's Stan Lee, for the last 4 years of his life. And what the film is that he's trying to fund is a documentary exposing how badly people treated and tried to exploit Stan Lee due to his old age in the last 4 years of his life. And he's really hoping that it'll bring to light kind of the corruption that was involved in that, and how bad it was, and how much, people just exploited him for monetary gain, functionally. And I really hope that Kickstarter pops off really, really hard, because I think a lot of Marvel's decline since Endgame was that they no longer had Stan there. And by that, I mean in the way of they didn't have someone original to the material who's been with the material its entire existence. They didn't have someone who was that familiar with the material anymore to tell executives no, basically, is what it feels like. Either, like, I don't know how to explain it, but it really felt that after we lost Stan Lee, the quality of the movies slowly started going down. Particularly after Endgame. And I'm not super familiar with any of the like crew and stuff that works on Marvel movies within that time period from Endgame to now. Not sure if Feige was involved in that. That's the only name I know in relevance to that, but I know he's now working on DC stuff. So, but I do think that that's this trailer for this documentary, I think, is really hitting that home. And you know, we've had a couple of cons already this year. I know Emerald City Comic Con just happened. I had a couple friends who went to that. And I know not terribly long ago, my friend went to a con up in Maryland. So I think it's really good that this is coming out earlier in the year, that this trailer has come out earlier in the year, because this Kickstarter could possibly be fully funded before like New York Comic-Con, which is usually in October. Very important in general. In a similar vein of media and corruption, there's been a person spotted outside Warner Brothers Studios in a Wile E. Coyote costume, protesting the fact that execs axed the release of Coyote versus Acme, which is understandable because they did this entire animated film and never released it. Did you, like, I'm not even necessarily worried that we lost that media. That's not entirely what I'm worried. I am worried about that, but that's not the bigger issue. Is if you didn't release it contractually, did you even have to pay those people? Did you axe this project so you didn't have to pay these people? Like, what happened there, you know? Big concern there. What else we got? Oh, this one's a little silly. I'll be so honest, this one's a little silly. There's this new meme template going around based on this panel from the Archie comics, and it's Veronica looking at Archie, and she yells, "Down, boy," and he barks in response and like gets down. And people have been, you know, drawing that pair as different characters, but the same dialogue and all that. Which I think is really entertaining, because that meme popping off while women are so like scrutinized in America, especially now more than ever, or now more than it has been in a long time. And I think it's very interesting that one of the more popular, you know, insert character here meme templates is like that. So I thought that was very interesting. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about in our general subjects for this week's Hyper-Fixations is that Christina Ricci got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. First of all, thank God. She deserves it. Thank you very much. But also, I mean, she said really funny things at the ceremony, like she said that when she dies, she's going to haunt her star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame so that she's always here. And then, you know, she said some wonderful stuff about her fellow cast members for Yellow Jackets, which is the thing she's currently working on. But, and I think this is massive. She said that, actually, let me bring it up. I'll be right back. Let me bring up the exact quote. Okay, I've located it. Um, while she was talking during the Hollywood Walk of Fame star ceremony, she said, I hope that we are able to get back to things being run by people who love film and TV instead of people who run corporations really well. She went on to specify things like she doesn't think that anyone should be chosen over another due to how many followers they have, which is massive because in places like Hollywood and in like New York, sometimes, in fact, a lot of times, if you aren't huge in acting, um, the more followers you have, the more likely you are to get a role, which really sucks because that just means that they want your audience. They don't want you. First and foremost, they want your audience. They don't want you. Do you recognize that? You know? And some people don't recognize that. And then on top of that, it really shows that like people don't care if you have a passion for it anymore, which sucks because, you know, I'm a theater kid. Throughout my life, I've met people who I know have such a passion for theater that they really should be more popular than they are. But they're not because it's turned into a complete cash grab. And that's not to say it hasn't always been a cash grab. It has. It's a for-profit industry. But it really sucks to see the passion drained out of film. That's why hearing Christina Ricci, who's been famous for so long since she was Wednesday Addams in like the hold on, the 90s. I think she's the 90s. Yes, she was Wednesday Addams in the 90s show, with Angelica Houston. It's so important to see someone who has been around long enough that they saw when the industry was filled with passion to openly comment on the fact that we have lost that passion. And, you know, especially, that's a huge thing to say, especially when 2025 seems so focused on the fact that nostalgia is huge right now. Because when the economy gets worse, people want good media to get their mind off of it. And if you have people who are just pushing out things simply to get the numbers and not necessarily aiming to entertain, but aiming to get your butt in a seat at the theater, it's hold on. Did the camera just do the thing? Sorry. Sometimes the camera glitches out and I worry because it makes like a big flashing light thing. But in a year in which nostalgia is so prominent, having someone who's been around in the industry literally their whole life and has seen the progression of being an entertainer because it's your passion into being an entertainer to get the numbers, it's absolutely massive that she spoke on that. And especially when getting an award where you are specifically being recognized as a permanent part of the industry, basically, is how I view the star on the Hollywood Walk. And for example, my whole passion is theater, but knowing that people just want the numbers and knowing that people have started to only care about how many people you have in your audience, it really is discouraging. And I don't even necessarily, like, my aspirations aren't necessarily to be on screen. I've been, for the past year basically, I've been working backstage and working on sound and props. And literally, this coming Saturday, I am helping with auditions. I'm not auditioning, I'm helping with auditions. And I'm starting to garner a real appreciation for all of the backstage things, as I'm not currently on stage. And even then, it still concerns me, even though my aspiration in terms of theater and film aren't necessarily to be, the top or whatever, but just to be able to be a part of the industry in general. Seeing that transition from wanting people with passion to wanting people with numbers is deeply concerning, because you're turning it into a machine. It's no longer a team effort, it's a machine. There's a big difference. And I think it's really important that people recognize that difference, because what the fuck? Ugh. I have a very close friend who, her literal job is theater and is reviewing shows, and like reviewing stage shows, to be specific. And a lot of times a show will reflect better for her if there's clear passion put into it. Now, of course, from her end, she's only seeing the final product a lot of the time. Sometimes she helps choreograph shows, but a lot of the time, she's only seeing the final product. So a lot of what is highlighted when she reviews things is if someone particularly was clearly passionate about it, that usually sticks in her mind better. So, and I've talked about this with her a little bit, but I really should talk to her about it more. But seeing that transition is deeply concerning. And I'm glad that someone as famous as Christina Ricci publicly pointed it out, because with everything else that's happening around us in America, it's definitely something that we needed to hear. With that, we're going to move on to this week's pyramid. No, it's not. I was going to say it's a bit silly this week. It's definitely not silly this week. If anything, I think last week's was much sillier. But we're going to start that good old pyramid. So first and foremost on the pyramid, one of the only two fictional characters on the pyramid this week, which means, lo and behold, I've been pleasantly surprised by some part of humanity this week, thank God. But first up on the pyramid is Aurora Monroe, though more commonly recognized as just Storm from the X-Men. She is on the pyramid for kind of a silly reason. I've been talking about her a lot this week. I talked to my brother about X-Men comics in general recently. And, we talked about the beautiful dress she wore in a recent comic where she was having a meeting with Doom. And I think we honestly need Aurora to be more popular, I feel. Because she's a literal goddess in certain comics. She's an actual goddess. In some comics, she's it's just her power is so strong that she's referred to as a goddess. But she's also on the pyramid this week because it was leaked, and I do not know if it's been confirmed, but supposedly Marvel Rivals is getting a new skin for her, and it's basically like Thor themed, which is I'm a little peeved by that because they're like, ooh, this new skin for this goddess of a woman based off of a male character. Whatever, it's fine. I think the little tag name that it came with in the leaks was Thunder Goddess, which is accurate. But dare I say, I don't see enough appreciation for Aurora Monroe out there at all. I do not see enough appreciation for her. Not even just in like the films, but like just in general. People don't talk about her as much as they should, given how beautiful and powerful this woman is. So she's on the pyramid. Next up on the pyramid is our other fictional character this week. We had the Fields of Mystria update, which is a farming game that I play over on Twitch a lot. Excuse me. I'm losing my train of thought. But Fields of Mystria got a new update, and in this update, the dragon whose spirit is embodying a statue on your farm, he finally, now he can take his physical form, which is dateable. Very important. Dateable NPC. But he's finally in physical form now, and he looks so much cooler than I thought he would. And I am going to have to get screenshots myself because there are like 2 whole pictures of him on the internet as of last night when I was trying to find pictures of him. And even just any information on him, the wiki didn't even have a picture of him in his humanoid form. But very, very excited because he also has this whole little area that's really pretty. And I'm just very excited about it because this is like one of the characters that I've really been wanting to see in this game, and then we finally can, which is great. So very excited about Calderis. And I spent 8 hours yesterday playing the game instead of prepping my notes for today. So, as you can tell, very excited about it. Okay. Next up on the pyramid is Christina Ricci. Literally for every reason I listed earlier. Not just the fact that she wants to haunt her Hollywood star after she passes so that she'll always be in the heart of the industry, but also the fact that she brought to light how oddly mechanical the industry has become and how it's not as personal as it should be. Also, I'm an extreme fan of the 90s Addams Family. I do love the 60s Addams Family, don't get me wrong. But Angelica Houston is definitely my favorite Morticia. Just because in comparison to the and I can't remember her name, but in comparison to the woman who played Morticia in the 60s, Angelica Houston feels more like a hauntingly beautiful. So that's why the 90s Addams Family is more my favorite. Though I do prefer the Gomez Addams. Well, no, I just prefer Gomez Addams, period. I don't care who's playing him. I don't care who it is. But seeing, just seeing the fact that Christina Ricci was Little Wednesday, and to see her in new media but still have that Addams Family air about her, it just feels so full circle to me, and I really love it. So that's why she's on the pyramid, because she's excellent as far as I can tell, and as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, that's why she's on the pyramid this week. Our top 3 on the pyramid are all somewhat fashion related, actually, now that I'm looking at it, which makes sense. I spent a full academic year as a fashion major, so I have a much deeper appreciation for fashion and for garments and stuff like that. So next up on the pyramid is going to be Songhwa of 80s. He was in an Isabel Marant fashion show, and let me catch you up to the best features of the fact that he was in this fashion show. First of all, they let him wear heels. Thank you. They let him wear heels. And second of all, he was in a fashion show for the women's line. Thank God they're letting him do this. Also, Songhwa always has really good fashion moments, I've noticed. Out of all of the members of ATEEZ, he seems to be the one that has, you know, stylists who put him in the best outfits. I think he was on the pyramid for this outfit previously, but there was a show in which he was wearing a dress for something, or I think it was a show, I don't remember what it was for, but he was wearing a dress to the event. And that was, I really love when K-pop idols, male K-pop idols, because they don't ever seem to do it with female K-pop idols, but I love when male K-pop idols really lean into an androgynous style of clothing, which Songhwa is definitely one of the K-pop idols that I see do that the most frequently. And I really appreciate that because, you know, he'll be in this women's line fashion show in heels and absolutely slay. And then, you know, switch over to a concert and he's in like functionally a suit and you're like, what just happened? I really love that dichotomy because you don't get to see that often here in America, so I really appreciate it. Next up on the pyramid is Chapel Roan because of, I believe, a Valentino dress. Let me check. One moment, please. Okay, I was correct. It was a Valentino dress because it's Paris Fashion Week right now. Chapel Roan was wearing this gorgeous Valentino dress, and I had a moment where I realized, I was like, I think this is one of the few instances in which I can honestly say I am jealous of a celebrity for something, and it's because, oh my god, that dress is beautiful. Whoa. That dress is gorgeous and it looks so good on her. But Chapel Roan's on the pyramid, not just because of the beautiful Maison Valentino outfit that she wore this Paris Fashion Week, but also all of the things she's been doing this fashion week are really cool. Some fashion shows that she has attended, not been in, but attended. She was wearing outfits to the point in which that deviated from her usual style enough that people didn't recognize her at first. In fact, I think at one point she even said that she barely recognized herself with how everything was done and styled. But also the fact that we're going to get that new song soon, The Giver. If we haven't already, I honestly am not sure if we've gotten the full thing. I know she has put a 34-second clip of it on TikTok, but I don't know if it's actually out yet. Let me check. Chapel Roan. Show all. Okay, it hasn't come out yet, but I'm very excited about The Giver. I'm also excited because of how she's been advertising it in a way that feels And I can't pinpoint if it reminds me of the 70s or the 90s, but all of the advertisements where she's dressed as a lawyer or as a plumber, I really love those because it really illustrates the point of this song, I feel, which is in the clip that's on TikTok, it's functionally about being in a relationship with someone who all they do is take and take and take, and you don't necessarily leave that situation because you are more of a giver. And that's why it's called Giver. And I'm really excited about it. There is pre-order for a little 7-inch of it, which is also really cool. I'm really glad she's doing that. Not enough people do those 7-inch vinyls anymore, I feel. At least I haven't seen as many. Hopefully I'm wrong and people have been doing it a lot. But that's why Chapel Roan's on the pyramid. And then on the top of the pyramid, which, fun fact, as I was writing the pyramid, I actually wrote the number 1 spot first, and then like several hours later wrote the rest of the pyramid. So it's even in a different pen color, because I was 100% sure who I wanted at the top of the pyramid this week. Top of the pyramid this week is Lady Gaga. And for a lot of reasons. First of all, the entire Mayhem album came out. Banger after banger. Dare I say no skip album? I do dare. It's a no skip album. My favorite song on it is between Zombie Boy and Garden of Eden, I think. Yeah, I think those are the two. Though I do really love Disease. But that's more Disease. I like Disease more because it hits all of the boxes for a good auditory stim. Because as someone with ADHD, my primary form of stimming is listening to music very loud. Things that have repeating patterns in it and stuff like that. Or that are just loud. But Gaga's also on the pyramid because, you know, she did SNL. And not only did she have a wonderful musical performance on SNL, but she was also featured in every single skit, which is a lot of work. Just in general, that's a lot for one person to do. Which I think is really impressive. And of course, any of Gaga's outfits in promotion for Mayhem and in the SNL performance she did of Killa and just other songs off her album are all so good. Listen, if anyone has a good outfit, an iconic fit, it's gonna be Gaga. I mean, come on. She's been the person to have iconic outfits her whole career. That's like her thing. So very deservedly, Gaga is top of the pyramid this week. I got a little loud there. Sorry. But Gaga's on the top of the pyramid because she is the coolest person, actually. She's extremely relevant in my mind this week. Not just because of her music, but just seeing all of the different promotional stuff for Mayhem. Almost every time I open Instagram, it, as an ad, it shows me the Abracadabra music video. Absolutely beautiful. I also just love that Gaga's back. You know, she in an interview she said that she had dealt with complete psychosis for like 5 years. And how glad she is to be fully present and fully back. And I love that her reentry into being fully present and fully back, she gave an album, which is so cool. So that's why Gaga is on the pyramid this week. And dare I say, she may be on the pyramid next week, because I don't think I could possibly forget. Definitely a monster in here, you know? So that'll be the pyramid this week. Thank you all for watching. First and foremost, because this is the 10th one. This is the 10th episode of Weekly Hyperfixations. It's already been 10 of these, which is crazy to me. But also, I appreciate the fact that, you know, you're here and you're watching. Which, you know, is just a lot. It means a lot to me. It's definitely my motivation. Knowing that people enjoy just listening to me yap about things that my brain has fixated on in the past week. A couple friends who have watched these, personal friends who have watched these, have shared that they really enjoy it, because even if, you know, I can't hang out with them in person, it sort of feels like we're hanging out in person, because, you know, in person, I like to talk to my friends about the things I'm fixated on. So I really hope that y'all enjoy. And I mean, I don't know. I got caught up in my own brain, even though there was nothing in it. For a second there, my ADHD just took the reins and left. Anyways, thank you for watching. I am going to literally, when this video comes out, I will be live playing the Mystery update over on Twitch. But oh my gosh, my brain left again. What in the world? Wow. ADHD is a struggle, y'all. Okay, that'll be week 10. We've done it. We've done 10 of these. Big milestone moment. Okay. I'll see y'all next week. I'm hoping to have quite a bit to talk about. But of course, that always depends on what my brain latches onto. So we could have a really silly week next week, or we could have a pretty normal week next week. We'll find out when we get there, I suppose. But again, thank you all for watching. You know, like, comment, and subscribe or whatever. It does help out a lot. Anytime I see a new comment or a new like, or even a new subscribe, even just another view, it gives me that little boost of serotonin, because it means, hey, I'm doing something that people enjoy. And it's not just something that other people enjoy, but it's also something I enjoy. And the fact that something I enjoy can be enjoyed by other people is huge. So thank you. And next time you see me, don't worry, my hair will be curly again. My apologies. Though you may on occasion see me with straightened hair. I only really straighten it because it makes it easier to deal with. Curly hair kind of has a mind of its own, so straightening it out makes it a lot easier. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all next week for more Weekly Hyperfixations. So have a good one, y'all.